Actually, we have to understand when we say free will, what do we mean by free will? Free will means by my own choice, in freedom from influence or control from anyone else, I am able to make a decision. Given a choice of multiple options in a given particular circumstance, if I am able to decide which option I want to take without without uh, having to uh, report to someone or to follow orders of someone, if there is no one telling me you have to choose this option, that means I am fully deciding, I am the only person deciding which option to go for. Then it is called free will. Out of my own freedom, out of my own free volition, I take a certain decision. This is called free will. Now, this question presupposes that we possess complete free will. That means our free will is not subject to any other control or condition. Actually, to answer this question, we have to first understand our own position. As long as we are in the spiritual world, we are servants of Krishna. We are in complete knowledge of our original identity. We know who we are, what our relationship with Krishna is, and we are serving Krishna in that relationship. In such a situation, in order to facilitate our interactions with Krishna, to make our relationship more juicy, Yogamaya exercises her control on our knowledge of Krishna's position. How much we are aware of Krishna's greatness at any given point of time is decided by Yogamaya in the spiritual world, so that the relationship with Krishna can go on nicely. In certain relationships, the knowledge or the awareness of the greatness of Krishna can be an impeding factor in that relationship. To explain this, when Krishna and Balaram went to Mathura from Vrindavan upon the invitation of Kamsa, they participated in that wrestling match which Kamsa had organized, which was actually a devious plan by Kamsa to kill Krishna and Balaram. But then Krishna and Balaram overcame all those plots, all those various nefarious plans of Kamsa, and they killed Kamsa. After killing Kamsa, Krishna and Balaram went to the dungeons of Kamsa, where Kamsa had imprisoned Devaki and Vasudeva, and they released them. And the moment they released them, because they were seeing their parents for the first time, in fact, they immediately offered their obeisances to Vasudeva and Devaki. At that time, in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it mentions what was the reaction of Vasudeva and Devaki. Devaki and Vasudeva tada Ramakrishnau krita sambandhanau jnatva jagadishwarau. Devaki and Vasudeva, knowing that Krishna and Balaram, who are offering obeisances to Devaki and Vasudeva, jnatva jagadishwarau, knowing that they are the controllers of the whole universe, they are the Jagadishwara, they are the supreme lordships, they are the supreme lords of the whole universe. Being aware of this, Krita Sambandhano Putrau, even though the two sons were offering obeisances to Devaki and Vasudeva, Na Sasvajate Shankitau, they did not embrace Krishna and Balaram, although they were their own children and they were seeing them for the first time after 10 years, 11 years. Imagine the parents are getting to see their children for the first time after 10 years after their birth. Naturally, the parents will be so affectionate, tears will be flowing from their eyes, they'll be embracing, they'll be kissing their children, all this should be happening. But then Vasudeva and Devaki are standing with their hands folded, even though they are the parents. Why? Because Jnatva Jagadishwaro, because they were aware that Krishna and Balaram of their supreme position and of their greatness. And because of this, they could not express natural affection of parents towards their children. Whereas Nanda Maharaj and Yashodamai, because they were completely they were oblivious to Krishna's and Balaram's position of supremacy, they treated them like their own ordinary children. Therefore, in order to, if Nanda Maharaj and Yashodamai were to be aware of Krishna's and Balaram's position, then like Vasudeva and Devaki, they could not have related with Krishna and Balaram as their children. And therefore, Yogamaya determines how much of their awareness should be manifest in their conscious mind, in a devotee's conscious mind, at any given point of time, in order to facilitate their relationship with Krishna and the interactions with Krishna, so that the whole interaction becomes more pleasing to Krishna. This is what happens in the spiritual world. Now, amongst all the devotees like this in the spiritual world who are serving Krishna and engaging in various relationships with him, some living entities, 25% of the living entities like us, they develop a feeling why Krishna should be the center of attraction of everyone. Why I should also not be the center of attraction? Why should everyone serve Krishna? Why should I also not be served like Krishna? When this desire comes in a devotee's heart, then what happens is he is sent to this material world. That is the fall down of the material, of the jiva to this material world. And in this material world, once the jiva comes here, he has come here for what purpose? To enjoy independent of Krishna. And therefore, he is given a chance to express his desire by Mahamaya covering his, again, awareness of the position of Krishna. Because if the jiva continues to remain aware of the position of Krishna, he will not be able to engage in activities of sense gratification. As long as he is not aware of Krishna's position and his position, as long as the jiva is thinking that I am subordinate to Krishna, Krishna is the supreme person, he is the supreme enjoyer, I am his part and parcel, my duty is to serve him, I cannot enjoy independent of him. As long as this knowledge is there, how can the jiva try to enjoy in this material world? Therefore, in this material world, Mahamaya covers the consciousness of the jiva and he forgets his original relationship with Krishna and Krishna's position. In the spiritual world, Yogamaya covers the awareness for the purpose of facilitating the interactions with Krishna. Sometimes Yogamaya lifts that veil and the living entity or the devotee becomes aware of the position of Krishna. Just like Yashodamai, when Krishna ate the mud of Braj at Brahmanda Ghat, Yashodamai called Krishna and told him, open your mouth, let me see, have you eaten any mud? And Krishna opened his mouth. He opened his mouth. And inside his mouth, Yashodamai is seeing all the entire universe, all the stars, all the planets, all the devatas, Vishnu, Narayana, everybody she's seeing. And she's also seeing within the mouth of Krishna, herself sitting there and feeding Krishna. And she got completely, she went into a different plane. She started thinking, oh, see, this is the entire creation. I am just an ordinary jiva. I am thinking this is my son. And I am his mother. And I am a wife of Nanda Maharaj. All this is illusion. I am actually spirit soul. Like this in a high philosophical way, she started thinking. At that point of time, her awareness got manifested. Then immediately Yogamaya, seeing that now she is not relating with Krishna as an ordinary child, immediately Yogamaya pulled the curtain And then Yashodamai suddenly woke up and said, "Oh, what is this I'm seeing inside my child's mouth? Some ghost has taken control of Krishna." Ayyo. She started chanting all the names of Narayana, Vishnu, everything. Protect my child, protect my child. In the spiritual world, Yogamaya covers the consciousness temporarily in order to facilitate the interaction between the devotee and Krishna. In the material world, Mahamaya covers the consciousness of the jiva completely until he becomes a devotee and he becomes liberated. Either case, the jiva's awareness of Krishna is not fully manifest.